Welcome back to the channel, Survivors. Jagex just dropped a mother load when it comes to roadmaps here for RuneScape Dragonwilds. We're talking undead dragons, farming, scorching deserts where the sun can literally kill you. Yeah, you heard that correctly. If you thought the early access launch was the end of the hype train, well, buckle up, because the end of this year leading into next year is absolutely stacked. Let's dive in and talk about what is coming right now in the game, leading all the way up to the official 1.0 launch. And speaking on one of those meaningful updates, let's talk about what is right on the horizon coming up on June 17th. Literally next week, June 17th, we are actually full on expecting a magic update. That's right, guys. If you've been waiting like I have patiently here for the magic skill tree to be added into the game, well, June 17th is your date that you need to put on your radar and on your calendar. Essentially, on June 17th, they're going to be adding levels from 0 all the way up to level 50 for the magic tree. And in this tree, they've already mentioned in the past, including some of my previous videos, go check them out if you haven't, the teleportation skill, or the surge skill, if you will, I think is what they're actually calling it, which will give players the ability to actually teleport around, adding a ton of survivability here to utilizing magic in the game over, melee or ranged. And additionally, on top of that, we also heard about another, like mirror imaging skill, which will essentially allow you to, once you use the surge ability, the teleportation, to then put like a hologram or a mirrored version of yourself in its place for enemies to attack for a short duration. Again, further adding to the survivability here to the magic skill line. And on top of the magic stuff here dropping on June 17th, they also are going to be adding a couple of other things. One, that is the hard mode, baby. If you guys think that the current version of the game is a little too easy, well, think again. That was going to be your opportunity here on June 17th to jump in and try your hand at the hard mode. Now, from my understanding, you will have to create a brand new character. You'll have to start a brand new world. I don't think any of that stuff will actually carry over, including your gear and stuff, into the hard mode, but nevertheless, if you guys are up for the challenge, good luck to all of you guys out there. With that being said, they're also going to be adding a new defensive mechanic system in the game, where now they're going to be adding these I don't even know how to say the word, but basically these giant spiky walls that you guys can see here on screen, potentially, if I remember to put them up somewhere, they're going to add a lot to your base defense, right? They're going to help defend against these pesky raids that, periodically will happen according to whatever region you're in, and on top of that, they will have a lot more health than you building your own walls or your own gates and stuff around your entire build. And obviously, with it being a brand new building piece, they've got a couple of different sets. I believe it's going to be Ashwood and then even the Oakwood versions, and then I believe the Oakwood versions, they said, can go all the way up to like 1500 HP when it comes to how much damage they can take before they break. So definitely going to add a lot of defense here to your overall play, and even some creative, builds that I could see come out of this utilizing these instead of the other pieces that people have been using. Now, with that being said, let's dive into something a little bit further on the horizon, but still absolutely exciting. And that officially brings us to September 9th. They dropped here in this roadmap that September 9th, they're actually aiming to drop the range skill tree. So not only will we get the magic skill tree here in June, but in September, we're going to be getting the range skill tree. I know a lot of people are going to be extremely happy for this one and upset a little bit, because it is going to take them all the way until September to add the range skill tree, and not necessarily at the same time magic drops, but nevertheless, the skill tree here for range will be going up to level 50. We haven't really found out too much information about this skill yet, or any skill reveals of what we can truly expect like they have for magic, but nevertheless, that is going to be on the horizon, and they did set a date now that we could expect that skill to drop for all of you ranged fans out there. And then lastly here, wrapping up 2025 with a massive bang, brings in our very first true expansion here to the game, 100% for free, by the way, for everybody who owns the current version, the current early access version of RuneScape Dragonwilds, and that is the brand new region, Fellhollow. Now, it's not just a brand new region, though. We're going to be bringing in a ton of new stuff, and they gave us a lot more information related to this major installment compared to something like the September ranged update. They state in Fellhollow, the dead do not rest here. They talk about the brand new boss for this area is going to be Umbral, which is essentially a undead blue overlord dragon. They state that Fellhollow is a place of bones, basically aka skeletons. We've got spooky winds and essentially a stench of forgotten conflicts. And in the new region, obviously, we're going to be finding a handful of brand new resources, which will introduce a lot more new things. Like, first up, we've got a brand new status effect called Soul Rift. So my guess is we're going to have to do some sort of potion crafting, to prevent ourselves from getting whatever this new status effect is. We've got a brand new lesser boss, which is going to be the Green Dragon mini boss here for the region. We've got steel armor being introduced, so we're going to be able to find different ingots and ores out there to create ourselves some steel gear. We've got green dragon hide armor, which obviously is going to be directly from this mini boss, is what I would assume. And we also have split bark armor, which is probably going to be from whatever the new tree is inside the region. We've got a brand new weapon type, which are going to be the scimitars. So we're going to be officially being able to check out a brand new weapon type that we don't currently have in the game, which I absolutely love doing. And clearly, obviously, Death himself is going to be introducing to us a brand new quest storyline for us to follow along to know more about the lore and to progress our individual characters. And that's not all, man. On top of all of the other new stuff being added in December with the Fellhollow update, they're also going to be dropping the farming skill tree, baby. Mwah! Absolutely, dude. I've been waiting for this one patiently here. Personally, I really hope that or wish that it was in the game when it did launch in early access, but nevertheless, we're going to be getting it here, and they did drop, as it mentions, in December of 2025. They did go on to give us a little bit more information about the farming stuff. They talked about that all of the plants for anything that you can cook with or make potions with, including things like flax. If you know, you know, it's a really valuable resource. You literally need flax for almost everything when it comes to the late game things that you're going to craft, whether it's armor or potions or, you name it. It's a very important resource. But they basically state that all of those are going to be able to be farmable. And it's important to note that when it comes to this farming mechanic, they did state that we can not only harvest and farm materials for recipes, but also decorative items, which again is very awesome. I think we're going to be opening up a huge world here when it comes to craftables and, creating plants and stuff to just decorate your entire build. With 2025 out of the way here when it comes to the roadmap, let's dive into 2026 Q1. They're going to be introducing the Dowdun Reach update. This is going to be the name of, again, another brand new region, a huge media update here, just coming, roughly 3 months after December, we could expect this one to drop. And this is going to introduce us to the mountainous region that will bridge Fellhollow and the Sands Beyond. Now, we'll talk about the Sands Beyond in a second, but essentially, this brand new mountainous region has some backstory and lore related to being the place of where the Black Knights built something that they hoped the world would have forgot. Now, I'm not too keen on all of the lore here, to be 100% honest. I'm not exactly sure where the Black Knights fit. If you guys know, drop a comment down below. I would love to know more about this. But in general here, kind of similar to the first expansion, we're going to be getting a brand new lesser blue dragon mini boss here for the region. We're going to be getting mithril armor instead of steel armor. We're going to be getting the blue dragon hide armor, as one would expect, and then also mystic robes. Additionally, they talk about this region being more focused around vault-based exploration with both interior and exteriors of these vaults. I'm assuming that these Black Knights built. And lastly, my personal favorite here, they're going to be introducing the fishing skill line, baby. That is right. Fishing will finally be added into the game in hopes for Q1 of 2026. Now, unfortunately, they didn't give us any additional information related to the fishing mechanic and how it's all going to work or a sneak peek or anything, but they did give us one little line which is interesting and important to know, and that is you can catch fish for cooking, crafting, or just showing off with base trophies. I'm just a sucker for fishing when it comes to games, whether it's an MMO or a survival crafting game, you name it. If I could spend hours just fishing and catch everything in the game and even have a trophy wall on top of it, absolutely count me in. And survivors, it doesn't stop there as you expected, right? Obviously, the video is a roadmap video. It's going to be a little bit longer than my usual upload. Either way, here at Q2 of 2026, we can expect the Umbral Sands. Yeah, dude, we've got a desert biome region coming. They state the sunlight will be lethal. The Umbral Sands will test more than your skill. They will test your patience and your preparation along with your will. So absolutely, man, we're going to be diving into a scorching hot region where we now have to manage some sort of heat mechanic, which we haven't really had to do up until this point in the game. And just like with other expansions here, obviously the brand new region is going to come with its own boss. This is going to be Fuzan, the Red Dragon. So you're going to have a lesser Red Dragon mini boss for the region. On top of that, we got the brand new heat mechanic, which they do mention in here that shade is going to be is going to become your survival, right? So essentially, you're not going to really want to run out in the open for too long anyways, because you're going to take some sort of like heat stroke or heat exhaustion or dehydration, if you will. Probably have to consume a lot more water than what we already do, let's be honest. But additionally, on top of that, we also have a brand new, 3 different armor sets. You probably could have guessed one of them, right? The red dragon hide armor. We've got the infinity robe and adamant armor or adamant armor. I'm not exactly sure the proper term. Let me know down below in the comments if you're a RuneScape fan and this term it comes from the other games. On top of that, though, we're also going to be getting the prayer skill tree officially being added into the game. They state here that the prayer support skill will bring rituals, blessings, and base empowerment. They talk about building altars, making offerings, and channel effects that boost you and your base defenses. In true RuneScape fashion, they state that you can bury bones, sacrifice relics, and recharge prayer points through rituals. I know a lot of OGs out there are going to be very excited for this one being added because prayer and bones go all the way back to old school, like the original old school RuneScape days. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to transform that and utilize that here in RuneScape Dragonwilds and what benefits the skill tree is going to offer when it does get added into the game. And lastly, here for the roadmap, we have the final holy grail in Q3 of 2026 coming, and that is the Scorned Wilderness. So the Shattered Domain is ruled by Queen Kuldra, the 5-headed black dragon god eater. The Scorned Wilderness will offer elite brutal dragons of all types, including lesser black dragons. We're going to be getting the rune armor officially being added, black dragon hide armor, and wild knight robes. As for resources, they don't tell you a whole lot. They basically just state it'll have rare resources, base building, and the race for Rune Knight. Again, not exactly sure what all of that entails. It's kind of left up to interpretation at this point or speculation until we find out more information. They do state here that the agility skill tree will also be dropping with this one, which again is going to be very exciting for players that do want to run and gun utilizing the agility tree and combo maybe with like the range skill that's hopefully going to be dropping here in September of 2025. You name it. Again, another skill line that people will absolutely love. And then lastly here, they've added a ton of stuff at the end of the article, just talking about a bunch of things that they are, thinking about and considering, adding into the game, or things that they're considering tweaking and all that stuff. Nothing set in stone, nothing concrete here, nothing that I felt was really, worth mentioning and taking up more of your time here in this video. But as always, guys, if you enjoyed the content, you are excited for these updates as much as I am, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything RuneScape Dragonwilds. And as always, if you guys enjoy my content, be sure to check out the videos you see here on screen as I dive into all of the different mechanics and stuff that RuneScape Dragonwilds has to offer and how you guys can utilize them efficiently.